Hello and welcome to today's video. Today it's going to be a little different, a little not so much of ghosts and equipment and stuff, but something more, it's still important. It's paperwork. And this stuff can come in like really handy. So make sure to get this down. I'm going to leave a link to all of these in the description. So we're going to go through these and I'll explain to you what they are and how they can help you. This is going to be a sort of short video, but these were reports that I had that I got rid of. I had to black them out because they canceled. So I'll show you kind of what it's all about. So there are a couple of these, and we are going to start in order. And this is the black nail polish I have on because I couldn't find a Sharpie. So let's go ahead and, so this probably isn't the best one to start with. We're going to go ahead and we're going to start with the client questionnaire. So this is basically, you put the name of your client, you put the ADDI of your client, and their phone numbers and their names. And then you just read this verbatim to them. Do you live here? Yes, no. Is this address a house, apartment, business, whatever? Go ahead and grab their email just in case. And then this is where you sit down and you start asking them questions. So the first question you ask them is, what's going on? What exactly have you been experiencing? When you ask these sort of questions, you want to try to get the extent of what's happening in the house. Describe the activity that you're experiencing. Do you feel like you're being harmed? Do you feel like, anybody in your house is being harmed or in some kind of danger, whether that be mentally or physically? And then you want to ask them, what is going on? Are there knocks? Are there scratches? Now, these papers are for more experienced paranormal investigators. By this point, I'm sure that the people I'm talking to already asked these questions, and this is just a good way to keep them organized. If you would like a whole video on how to interview a client, go ahead and let me know. So, what are your experiences? What's going on in the house? So, this is where it gets a little more intricate. Whispers or voices, knocking, footsteps, laughing, crying, and other. So this is the heard, felt, and noticed. And this will help you kind of determine what's going on in their house and what exactly these people are experiencing. And once you have it right here in front of you, you can kind of decipher what is happening in their house and what you need to bring equipment-wise. There's I've seen and I've sensed. Do not discount what people are sensing. So your biggest equipment piece you have is yourself. And these people live here, and if they start feeling different things and stuff is happening, then we need to acknowledge that. And this is probably one of the most important things that you can write down on this page. So let's go ahead and look at this. This is who lives or works at this address. So if they want to, they can give up their witness accounts. So anybody else that's living in the address, or anybody who has visited and had an experience. You can even write down names of people that haven't had experiences, but do stay or work at the at the place, at the residence, at the business, whatever it is. Just in case they do end up having an experience, you can get a hold of them. Do any current occupants have history of illness or mental health? This can be another big thing. if someone is experiencing serious mental health issues, that can be the reason for their haunting. So it might not actually be a ghost or anything paranormal. It could be the person. So I know this can be kind of a sensitive question, but by this time you should be able to phrase this in a way that shouldn't be offensive. What are your spiritual or religious beliefs of the occupants? Now, for some, this might be a loaded question. So, say the people in the occupancy is Wiccan or pagan, they might not tell you because they don't want to be blamed for whatever is happening in the house, especially if they know that that's not the reason. You can't be biased when you ask these kind of questions. You just have to ask the questions and evaluate appropriately. Another good reason that this can be a good thing to ask is, how are you going to deal with the spirit or entity afterwards? Say it is harming some people and they're Catholic. You might want to get a priest involved. Or maybe they're Jewish and you need to get a rabbi involved. So it's best when you align how you get rid of these spirits or entities with their beliefs. Because if you're doing something that they don't believe in, it might not be as effective. Do you or anyone else regularly on the property believe they have psychic abilities? I once went to a residential where this girl, she's a daughter, and she was sensitive. So she saw these things, more than most. And this is a really good one to take account of. And then describe how they manifest. Do they smell certain things, or do they see things, hear things? How does this manifest? There's pets. I guess dogs, cats are the main ones here. And as for the age, male, female, breed, to me, breed doesn't really matter. The age kind of matters, because when they're younger or older, they'll start to see more. Now we're on to the location of the occupant's history. We put down the date it was built and, who lived here before. And then you just want them to describe any of that. And how long has it been occurring? Of course, if, say you lived in the house for 5 or 6 years, and it just started happening recently, maybe within the last year, once you picked up that grandfather clock from the estate sale, that's suspicious. But if it hasn't happened before you bring in that grandfather clock, then you might have something on your hands. Let's see. Have people reported activity in this location experience anomalous activity elsewhere? So just besides the house, or is it in one room? Has the location undergone any recent changes or renovations? Because sometimes renovations can kick up activity and make things happen again. Are there any known maintenance issues, such as drafty windows, plumbing problems, stuff like that? So drafty windows, you can open doors, open windows. Maybe the latch doesn't work and it pops the window open, and that could be your issue. Or maybe the hinge on your door is a little crooked, so it swings open. And you really got to look over this stuff. So plumbing problems, say the plumbing in the walls are rattling and it's knocking pictures off the walls, but they think it's a ghost. Describe any this is kind of like the clock thing I was just talking about. Describe any antiques or secondhand items that you have recently got. Describe any significant military items you have on the properties, metal, souvenir, a lot of stuff involving trauma. And if it involves trauma, there's usually some kind of energy attached to it. Do you have cremains? So that's cremated remains, or items made from cremains on the property. Basically, do you have a dead body on your property? Describe any animal or human remains located on or near the property. This is important just in case it is somebody, walking around the property that's just buried there. Describe any mementos you have of your loved one. So mementos can include necklaces, jewelry, stuff like that just energy is attached to naturally, and it could be carrying the spirit with them throughout the existence of this mementos. Describe anything else located on the property you may believe affect activity, such as creeks or wells, stuff like that. I think we're almost to the end of this one here. Describe any significant events that have occurred near or on the property, such as dismantling of other buildings, or maybe some landscaping can do it. Describe any paranormal activity of which you are aware in the area. So maybe the whole neighborhood's haunted. I've had one of those before. What natural land formations or body of water are nearby? Like I was saying, running water and stuff like that can, it can entice these spirits and they can gain energy from stuff like that. What man-made structures are nearby? High voltage wires, cell towers, anything that emits EMF. And electromagnetic energy can affect somebody's mind. Like I said, if you're an experienced paranormal investigator and you're asking these questions, these are good questions to ask. And then describe any other nearby features. Please attach a map of the property with the areas of significant concern are highlighted. So you won't always have a map, so maybe you can write down, or if you want to, you can even draw your own map of the property. Another thing you could do is go onto Zillow, and sometimes they'll have a floor plan of the place. And that was our first document, the client questionnaire, and it looks like I got some of this nail polish on the desk. Okay, so now that we know what's going on, we're going to go ahead and we're going to do the investigation plan. How are we going to conduct this investigation? Who's going, the date of investigation, the time, who's it's conducted by, and who's going to be there, significant notes or client from the client interview. So any of the main things here, copy, paste onto here. And you can do all this online if you want, so you can print it and it's set in stone. So if you have a psychic in your group, here's a good area for you. I saw, I heard, I felt, I smelled, I noticed. The equipment plan, what equipment you're going to use, and where you're going to set it up to take the readings and the time. And then the person responsible for the equipment, then investigators, where they're going to be, the time, and their tasks. And then just the planned narrative. We're going to walk through the front of the house and start in the living room. We're going to walk down the left end hallway and then enter the right room. Stuff like that. So I was hoping not to have to edit this video any at all, but I just exposed where this location was. So forgive me for that quick break. So you put the property location, the client's name, your case number. Usually you'll start at 1 if you haven't, or take a rough guess of how many investigations you've done already, and log it from 1 to however many you need to do. And then this is just an overview case checklist. So did they do the phone interview, in-person interview, when did it happen, how did it happen, who was there, stuff like that. And then we have the permission to investigate, release completed, yes or no. We'll get to that here in a bit. And then plan to investigate completed, yes or no. And then we have environmental sensors and audio equipment. Next we have the DVD and DVR equipment, video equipment, stuff like that. It's just a basic checklist. You can write these in on the computer, and then you can print them out as necessary. And then we have the baseline readings, and then you would want to list the baseline readings on the other page that we just did. And then we also have the post-investigation. What happened? Did we look over everything? Really just covering all bases here. Now, we have this one. This one can be a little iffy for some people. This is the permission to investigate and authorization of public release of information. So this is basically saying anything we capture, if we want to publish it online, we can, with your disclosure. You put the client's name, information, stuff like that. And then you put the information about the location, where we're investigating, and are there any off-limits spaces? Is there any equipment that we don't want to use? Are there any safety hazards such as fallen trees, broken buildings, and stuff like that? So, if you want to, you can pause it here and read this. Basically saying, if anything happens to you, me, my equipment, or your house or property, if anything is damaged, it's not our fault. We're not liable, and you're allowing us to investigate. Okay, and then this is the confidentiality agreement. So if they say that yes, it's okay to release video footage, audio footage, as long as you don't say my name, the property name, or anything in those lines. So you can get them, your team members, to sign here, or print their name and then sign. Next is, what do we have permission to release? Photographs, video recordings, audio recordings, personal, like, people, pictures, stuff like that, environmental readings. What can we post and what can we not post? You'll let them check these off, and then you sign, they sign. And then legally, your covers are, your bases are covered. Finally, actually not finally, we have one more after this one. This is the case report. Anything that happens here, you want to log. Any significant temperature fluctuations, the weather conditions, EMF recordings, the baselines, and then you have EMF fluctuations. So here you would put the location, the time, the reading, and any notes you want to put around here, and then you want to put any major fluctuations in the EMF readings. Personal experiences: I saw, I heard, I felt, I smelled, I noticed. Who, time, location, notes. Documented evidence, evidence type, location, time, description. And then what actually happened. So you have your plan that says what happens. And then this is just kind of a review of what you actually did. Conclusions. What do you think happened? Do you think it's haunted? Do you think it's just the pipes? This is where you write your conclusion notes. And yeah, so for more information, contact name, role, email, phone. I guess this is if you're filing it. Yeah, so or if you have any inconsistency in here, just, your investigators or anybody who witnessed anything, stuff like that. Now, finally, we have the activity data review log. So this is just reviewing everything. Photos, videos, audios, video only, video audio only, video thermal, the POV shots, EMF, temperature, stuff like that. Details, where, what, who's recording, who's present, and then the log, the timestamp, observations. Put all that down here. And that's it. That is all of our forms. These are the most detailed, the best paranormal forms I have seen in a long time. Like I said, I'm going to put the link down in the description. Go grab these right now. They will help you. Go out to maybe a cemetery or something, or a friend's house, play an investigation, just so you can get used to writing down the information, because it is important. If you're doing it for fun, like I get the, just the gist of it's just for fun, no big deal. I get that. You don't have to. Nobody really has to. But whenever you're going over evidence, stuff like that, these are very, very good to refer back to. So thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions, please leave leave them in the comments, and I'll answer them the best I can. And I hope to see you soon.